My sister saved my marriage. No, scratch that. My sister saved me from wasting another year of my life. She was driving home from work one afternoon when she passed a gas station and saw my wife's car in the parking lot. She almost kept driving. Then she saw the man. My wife was standing there hugging him, and then she kissed him. My sister pulled into the Walgreens across the street and parked where she could not be spotted. She sat in that car and watched the whole thing. She said she could not move. She could not process what she was seeing. 23 years of marriage, 2 kids grown and gone, and my wife was standing at a gas station kissing another man. My sister came straight to my house. She sat me down and told me everything she saw. I did not say a word. I just sat there and stared at the wall. When I finally spoke, I told her I needed proof before I did anything. She agreed. We sat there that night and came up with a plan. A voice-activated recorder in my wife's car, a GPS tracker on the vehicle, no confrontation, no accusations, just evidence. What that recorder captured over the next several weeks was 23 years of betrayal, laid out in my wife's own words. While she thought nobody was listening, my wife had been cheating on me for 11 months. She was bored, she wanted out, and she thought when it was all over, she was going to get paid. Folks, here we go again. Another crazy story in this episode of Tony's Cheating Stories. My wife and I met in our late 20s. We built everything together, the house, the kids, the life. I am a land surveyor by trade, so I am used to measuring things precisely, making sure everything lines up, making sure the foundation is solid before you build on top of it. I thought I had done that with my 23-year marriage. 2 kids who grew up, moved out, and started their own lives. We had been through everything a marriage goes through, the tight years, the good years, the years where you are just heads down grinding and you forget to pay attention to each other. I thought that was normal. I thought we were fine. Looking back now, there were signs I missed. She became quieter, less interested in the things we used to do together. She started going out more, saying she needed time with her girlfriends, that she felt like she had spent so many years raising kids and keeping the house that she needed to find herself again. I did not question it. I thought it was a phase. I thought 23 years earned us enough trust that I did not need to question where she was going or who she was spending time with. I was wrong about that. What I did not know, and what she never had the decency to tell me, was that she had already checked out of our marriage. She was bored. She had been bored for a while, and for 11 months before my sister pulled into that Walgreens parking lot, she had been doing something about it. The plan was simple. My sister would plant the voice-activated recorder in my wife's car while she was at work. I would handle the GPS tracker. We did not rush it. We waited 2 days, made sure the timing was right, and then we moved. My sister slipped the recorder under the passenger seat while my wife's car was parked at her office. I put the GPS tracker on the vehicle that same afternoon. Then we waited. The first few days, the recorder picked up nothing unusual. Conversations on the phone with her girlfriends, music playing through the speakers, the normal sounds of someone driving around running errands. I was starting to wonder if my sister had misread what she saw at that gas station. Then week 2 hit. The recorder picked up a phone conversation that stopped me dead in my tracks. My wife was talking to him. I do not know his name, and I did not need to. What I know is what she said. She told him she was done with the marriage, done with the routine. She said the kids were gone, and there was nothing holding her there anymore. She said she had been bored for years. She said she loved him. She said she was just waiting for the right time to make her move. I sat in my car and listened to that recording 3 times, and she was talking about leaving me like she was canceling a subscription. The GPS told a different story. She was telling me she was going to her book club on certain nights. The GPS was putting her at an address 30 minutes from our house. Same location, multiple times. I wrote the address down. I was not ready to confront her yet, but I was close. I took everything to an attorney before I said a single word to my wife. The recordings, the GPS logs, the address. I laid it all out on his desk. He looked at the GPS logs first. 17 visits to the same address over those 11 months. Then he listened to about 2 minutes of the recording. He stopped it, looked at me, and said, "She is going to ask for spousal maintenance." I said, "I know." He said, "She is not going to get it." That was the moment I exhaled for the first time in weeks. He walked me through the law. Texas recognizes fault-based divorce under the family code. Adultery is one of those faults, and when adultery is proven, a judge has a discretion to deny spousal maintenance to the cheating spouse. He also told me that Texas is a community property state, meaning everything built during the marriage is split equally by default, but fault changes that math. A judge can award the innocent spouse a disproportionate share of the marital assets when adultery is established. He told me the recordings were significant. Her own voice on her own phone, in her own car, describing an 11-month affair and her plans to leave the marriage. He told me the GPS logs were significant. Documented visits to the same location over 11 months was not a pattern anyone could explain away. My attorney told me not to touch nothing, make no moves, and let him prepare the filing. He also told me one more thing. He said before we file, it would help to have a photograph placing her at that address, something visual that a judge could look at directly. The GPS had already shown me where she was going. Now I needed to show up there myself. So I staked out the address myself. I know what you are thinking. Why not hire a private investigator? Honestly, I thought about it, but I am a land surveyor. I spend my days driving around, sitting in my car, waiting on things. I know how to be patient, and I know how to be invisible. So one evening I parked down the street from that address and waited. About 45 minutes in, my wife's car pulled up. She got out, walked to the front door, and did not even look around. That told me everything I needed to know about how long this had been going on. I got the photographs, her car in the driveway, her walking to the front door, the door opening. I had what my attorney asked for. I sat there for a few more minutes after she went inside. I am not going to lie. I wanted to knock on that door. I wanted to see the look on her face, but I thought about what my attorney said. Keep your composure. Do not blow up the case over a moment of satisfaction. So I drove home. I called my attorney the next morning and told him we were ready. He filed 3 days later. My wife was served at her office that week. She did not call me. She did not come home to talk. She did not ask for an explanation. She just showed up at the house 2 days later with an attitude like I had inconvenienced her. She sat down, crossed her arms, and told me she was entitled to alimony after 23 years. Not sorry, not emotional, just entitled. She said her attorney had already told her Texas law was on her side. She was not worried about a thing. I let her talk. I did not say much because I already knew what she did not, and in a few weeks, so would a judge. The hearing was about 6 weeks after she was served. She walked in with her attorney looking like she had already won, head up, shoulders back, unbothered. Her attorney opened with the spousal maintenance request. 23 years of marriage, contributions to the household, limited independent income. He made it sound reasonable. Then my attorney stood up. He submitted the GPS logs first. Multiple documented visits to the same address over 11 months. Her attorney objected. The judge looked at the logs, looked at him, and told him to sit down. Then my attorney submitted the photographs, her car in the driveway, her at the front door, the door opening. Her attorney shifted in his seat. Then my attorney played the recording, her voice, her words, her describing an 11-month affair, telling this man she loved him, telling him she was bored, telling him she was done with her marriage, and just waiting for the right time to leave. The courtroom was quiet. My wife stared straight ahead, still no emotion, still entitled. The judge was a woman, and she had heard enough. She looked directly at my wife and told her that 23 years of marriage did not entitle anyone to financial support after proving infidelity. She said the evidence presented was not circumstantial. It was her own voice describing her own choices. She said the court did not reward that kind of betrayal with a monthly check. She said she hoped my wife understood the difference between what she was owed and what she had earned. My wife's attorney requested a recess. They came back about 15 minutes later. The spousal maintenance request was withdrawn. The divorce was granted on fault grounds. She walked out of that courtroom with less than she came in expecting, and not one word of apology, still entitled, right up until the end. My sister called me that night after the hearing. She asked me how it went. I told her the judge said everything I wanted to say, but could not. She laughed and said, "Good." That was it. No big celebration. No revenge fantasy playing out the way you imagine it will. Just a phone call with my sister, the same one who almost ran a red light outside a gas station and decided to do something about what she saw. I think about that moment a lot. She could have minded her business. A lot of people would have. 23 years is a long investment, and nobody wants to be the one who blows it up. But she did not mind her business, and because she did not, I walked out of that marriage with my finances intact, my retirement untouched, and my dignity. My wife walked out with the consequences of her own choices. No alimony, no sympathy from a judge who had clearly seen enough entitlement walk through that courtroom to know exactly what she was looking at. The cheating was one thing, the attitude was another. You can be angry at someone for cheating, but the entitlement, the absolute certainty that she deserved to be rewarded after 11 months of infidelity and 23 years of a marriage she had mentally checked out of. That is what I will remember, not the recorder, not the GPS, not the photographs. The look on her face when she walked into that courtroom like the divorce was just a formality before she started collecting. If you are going through something similar right now, trust your instincts, get your evidence, get your attorney, and let the truth do the rest. Because in a Texas courtroom, her own voice was louder than anything her attorney could have said. Update 1. The divorce was finalized about 6 months after the hearing. I found out that she had moved in with him shortly after. Not surprising. She had been planning her exit for 11 months. She knew exactly where she was going. I heard she seemed happy. Good for her. I was not sitting around thinking about it either way. I had my house, I had my retirement, I had my career, and I had my sister, who I took out to a nice dinner and told her she could call in that favor anytime she needed anything. She told me to stop being dramatic. That is just who she is. Life moved on, or so I thought. Update 2. About 8 months after the divorce was finalized, I started hearing things through the grapevine. Apparently her AP, the man she had traded 23 years for, had a problem she did not know about when she was sneaking around with him. He was an alcoholic, not a casual drinker, the kind of thing you do not see when you are meeting someone in secret, when everything is exciting and nobody is being real with each other, the kind of thing you only find out about when you are living with someone and the excitement wears off. She was still working, still managing, but rumor had it things were not what she imagined they would be when she walked out of that courtroom so confident. She spent 11 months sneaking around with this man and ended up with a situation that no judge could have handed her. She did it to herself. Update 3. It has been almost 2 years now. I heard recently that her AP lost his job. The alcohol problem finally caught up with him at work and he got fired. So, the woman who walked into a courtroom convinced she was entitled to my money, convinced that 23 years of marriage owed her a monthly check, is now the breadwinner for a man she blew up her life for. I did not feel satisfaction when I heard that. I am not going to sit here and pretend I felt nothing either, but mostly what I felt was clarity. She made her choices, every single one of them. The affair, the attitude, the certainty that she was going to get paid no matter what she had done. And now she is supporting a man who cannot hold down a job. Meanwhile, I go to work every morning as a land surveyor, doing what I have always done, measuring things carefully, making sure the foundation is solid before I build on top of it. I just do it for myself now. And honestly, that is not a bad place to be. If there is anything I want you to take away from this story, it is simple. Your sister might just save your life. Answer the phone when she calls. Update 4. I did not see the last part coming. Nobody did. A few months ago, I got word that she and her AP had split up. She moved out of his place, the man she had traded 23 years for, in a Texas courtroom, certain she was going to build a new life with. I do not know all the details, and I am not going to pretend I do. What I know is she was gone, and then something happened that I was not prepared for. My kids found out what their mother had done. I do not know exactly how it came out. I did not tell them. That was never my place, and I was not going to make them choose sides over something I had already moved past. But it came out. My son called me first. He did not say much. He just asked me if it was true. I told him yes. He got quiet for a moment and then said he was sorry. I told him he had nothing to be sorry for. My daughter took it harder. She called me a few days later and she was furious. Not at me, at her mother. 2 kids raised in that house. Every holiday, every birthday, every ordinary morning that felt like nothing at the time, but meant everything in hindsight. And their mother had been checked out for at least the last 11 months of it. Both of my kids have pulled back from her. They are not cutting her off permanently, at least not as far as I know. But right now, they need space from her, and I understand that. I have not encouraged it. I have not said a negative word about their mother to either of them. That is not the kind of man I am, and it is not the example I want to set. But I am also not going to tell them how to feel. They are adults. They found out the truth on their own, and they are processing it the way adults process things, slowly, imperfectly, and in their own time. As for me, I am good, better than good actually. I go to work. I come home to a house that is mine. I talk to my sister every week. She still tells me to stop being dramatic whenever I try to thank her. I have stopped trying. Some things you just have to let people be. 23 years taught me that the foundation matters more than anything else you build on top of it. I just wish I had inspected it a little more carefully before I put in all that work. Live and learn. Oh, and the kids are mine. I did a DNA test.